G'day guys, Chills20 here, welcome back to Mile Bay. Today's episode's a bit of an important one. We've got a few things going on. First of all, our industry. We've got plenty of it. It's all spread around the map, but that's sort of the problem. It's only connected with road access. There is pretty much no rail infrastructure. Well, actually, we've got plenty of rail infrastructure, but no cargo hubs. So today, we're going to start connecting up our industry and start planning out a big cargo hub where we can have a port, and a lot of the storage for our industrial districts are going to be down there too. It's going to be a pretty busy zone, so I'm hoping we can connect it up pretty well with some rail infrastructure, but also some sort of connection to the highway I think is going to be pretty important. We're going to start that today, but today is also an important episode because, well, it's the second last episode of Mile Bay. If you missed the last episode, I did mention we're going to be wrapping up this series over the next couple of weeks. Well, couple of episodes. This is the second last one. I reckon the last episode, so next week's episode, will be a bit of a wrap up, but also probably detailing this port up and just making sure that Mile Bay is all finished, all nicely wrapped up, you know? Making money, citizens happy, nothing on fire, that sort of a thing. If that seems kind of abrupt to you, it's actually always been the plan for this series. I always had plans to do this for less than a year, and we are starting to creep up to, well, let's see, I think I started this in September, but I started planning it way earlier on than that. Pretty much the maximum length I was going to spend on this series. And also, I feel like I've built pretty much everything. I mean, it is really hard in City Skylines. You can pretty much never finish. You know, it's a city. We're building cities here. And in my case, I'm building more than just a city. I'm building like an entire map with a couple of cities, couple of towns, you know, lots of stuff in between. So there's a lot going on. It's the sort of thing where you can pretty much never finish. You know, there's a bunch of things that I haven't even placed down. There's no amusement park. There's not really a proper university. There's still like a lot of things we could potentially do. But honestly, I feel that I'm at a point where I'm happy with how Mile Bay looks. There's obviously areas that we could continue to build on, and, you know, there's still a lot of highways and, you know, other bits and pieces, whole bunch of other DLCs that we've only really scratched the surface with. But I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I mean, there's not a huge amount more what I do really want to add. You know, I mentioned an amusement park and university. I don't even know where we could fit those in. You know, the map is actually filled. I did plan to go through and change more things as we sort of worked through this series. You know, this series was kind of meant to be a bit more of me going through and changing aspects of the city, you know, adding in more highways and, you know, changes as the city has grown over time. But even talking to you guys, a lot of people haven't really wanted to see that. They've been quite happy with the size of the airport, and, you know, nobody really wanted to see any more highways being dragged through the city. So, you know, and that was kind of where I was feeling as well. I didn't really want to do that either. So we have made way more changes on the map than I have ever done within any of my other series. Usually when I build something, it's pretty much set in stone. But this series, it has been nice not being massively attached to places and being able to change, you know, some of these locations without having to worry too much with all the detail and effort that I put into it. Exhibit A, I am literally destroying a big chunk of the map just here, this industrial area. Not a big chunk, but it's still a little area that I did work on a couple of episodes ago. But I figured because this is an industrial area, probably a cargo train station would be a better fit than something for passengers. So unfortunately, these guys have to rely on the bus service instead. The ferry service is on the other side now of the water. So, you know, these guys are definitely missing out there. But yeah, it's been fun being able to like change things like that within this series. So that's something I'd honestly like to continue throughout new series that I do, is not get too attached to some areas. It's been actually kind of valuable, I think, with the way that I've been building, and something that I will take away from Mile Bay. I think I'm getting sidetracked. The series is wrapping up, so yeah, get ready for the next couple of episodes. We've got a couple of build episodes, as in next episode's a build one, and then after that, I've got one little road trip for you, and then all wrapped up. And in terms of what we're up to in this time lapse, because we are making a big cargo hub within the live play, which is pretty soon actually, this is only a short time lapse, I really had to make sure that we had some sort of connection through this rail network. We've got a very extensive rail network within Mile Bay. So I'm going through, and wherever I've got some sort of industrial area, I'm going through and just adding in a cargo train station. So it's all connected up. And then for the live play, we'll build that cargo hub. And I don't know, I'm really hoping that we make some money, because I'm just bleeding money at the moment, which is terrible because these things are so expensive. So that's probably why it's costing us so much money at the moment. But this is sort of the area whereabouts we're going to be building that hub. This is where the port's going to go, and the it's domestic airport is just up there too, which I think we'll probably do some sort of cargo terminal for that one too. But this is probably the most ideal location for a port within Mile Bay, just because we've got the two cities on either side. This is still technically within St. Marie, but it is pretty close to Cape Lewis, right next to the ocean, so pretty good connection. Plus we've got this train line, but the train line I think is going to be pretty tricky when we start trying to connect it up to the port, just because there is this trench which I think is going to be hard to connect up, and then there's also not a huge amount of space, so that might be a bit tricky. I mean, you can already see that I'm struggling with the underground parts of the line, so, you know, it's going to be a little bit difficult, I think. But I think in total, we end up doing about 3 or 4 different cargo train stations. I'm going through now and adding one within Cape Lewis. Cape Lewis? Yeah, Cape Lewis. I always call them the other names. The wrong names, usually. Got it right that time. But yeah, adding one down here, figured we needed one. We've got a pretty substantial industrial zone for Cape Lewis. And I believe that might be the only ones. So then we've got a couple within St. Marie. But I was definitely being a bit mindful because they are quite expensive and we're not really making any extra cash. I mean, at the moment we're making money, but it fluctuates like crazy. We make tons and then we lose tons, unfortunately. That seems to be the case within Mile Bay. Maybe that's the way we should finish Mile Bay. It's just going bankrupt and watching the whole place catch on fire. I feel like that would probably be the most appropriate ending. But anyway, let's jump into the live play and see how everything's going. We are well and truly into the future now, and we've got a little bit of money to play with. I mean, this is probably the most amount we've had in Mile Bay, but it's not exactly a huge amount, but it'll do. We are going to build a massive cargo hub down here, but before I get down there, I want to have a quick look at our airport, because I did intend to build some sort of cargo terminal within our airport, but I do believe that yeah, our attractiveness is really low, and we need something, well, we need to work on that to reach our level 3, because when we reach level 3, then we can build some cargo stuff, but at the moment it's all locked, so I don't know if we're going to get to that. We'll just have to see how we go. I mean, at this stage, I can't justify paying any of that money because we aren't exactly making much. We do have our train line all ready to go. I mean, he is just here waiting to be connected up. So we'll just have to see how we go for that. For now, while we're speaking about train lines, we need to figure out the train line first, because I do want to build some sort of, some sort of cargo hub. And these have a train line already built into them. Yeah, there it is there. So I think somewhere potentially there, you know, I would like to place more than one. This trench, I mean, I'm not exactly going to remove that trench, but this might be a good way of bypassing our industrial area. So, I mean, sticking with that, let's not make any more junctions. So I'm not going to do any crossings. We're going to go underground, and let's just have a little think. If he goes like that and snakes its way through here, could connect up to our hub, and then connect back up like that. So that could be a good option. Let's start with this guy down here, and we should probably move this. You know, we probably should have moved this in the first place. Somewhere nearby would probably be good. Let's see what the pollution radius is like. Massive. Okay, so it's probably, yeah, oh man, there's poor residents. Oh, up here, of course. This is a much better spot. And then I'll just move it over like that. And I think that's actually going to be a much better spot, because we do have a fair amount of trucks coming in and out of this area. I mean, this is our one and only waste processing complex. So that's probably going to be a better spot. I'm going to move this one too. This one's using heaps of trucks. All right, so by placing these guys over here, then we're going to not have as much traffic coming around here. So that's actually probably a good thing. Just want to see if that has reduced the amount of traffic, because I mean, look at this. That is a pretty awful intersection right there. And I know this isn't much better, but at least we're going to not get as much traffic coming in here. Of course, when we build this hub, yeah, we're gonna probably get a bit of traffic. So maybe we might need to rethink some of these intersections. All right, I've just figured out what the problem is. I mean, look at this, look at this road. It's one way, and then it stops there, and then we've got a two-way street. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I reckon we could probably, I think we could pretty much turn most of these roads. I mean, these are all looking kind of alright, so let's change them to one-ways. We'll just make this like a giant avenue, pretty much, with a train line going down the heart of it. And I think that should fix that a little bit better. And the reason why it's a problem is because if any vehicle is driving on this road and wants to continue to our interchange, they have to make a right-hand turn and then another left. So that's like a lot of movement in a pretty short amount of space. And plus, we've got a lot of stuff going on down here. So let's instead change those roads to one-way roads. I'm going to do that all the way up to this intersection because we've got enough room up there. I feel like it's not so bad. But these guys down here, I mean, it's all pretty much just residents and just small commerce. There's not really a huge amount, so I think we could probably get away with that. I wonder if we can keep this one two ways though and just see how that goes. Like at the moment, it looks all right. Maybe we'll just keep an eye on the traffic and that way we can make some calls after that. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. A couple of other things that I've done is I have now turned this into a 3-lane one-way road, and I've used traffic precedence just to make sure that the lanes match up with this a little bit better as well. Something else I can actually do with traffic precedent is I might turn off some of the restrictions. So I might say no crossing on that one, no crossing there either. And I might even just get rid of that road entirely. I mean, I don't really need it. It doesn't look great, but I feel like that's not so bad. I mean, none of that's great. Oh, actually, let's just fix that up. That's a little bit better. I just wanted to show that that road is still there, but it's just not connected anymore. Hopefully that should fix things a little bit better. And then I've just added in some scattered shops because we do need some shops at the moment. Medium demand is somewhat of a demand. Yeah, the reason why I'm sort of worried about these intersections is because we're about to add a fair amount of traffic in this area. So let's get into that traffic. Yeah, okay, we need to smooth out this guy a little bit more because it's I think it needs to be pretty low down. I'm actually going to make all that road is now going to be raised up. I want it to be fairly smooth like that. So if I do that as it is just on the ground, and I don't know if I'm going to do a tunnel. Like, of course, it is going to be some sort of tunnel. It's going to not connect up to any of those roads or interfere with any of those buildings. But I just wonder whether or not I'm going to do a proper tunnel under there. Let's see what a tunnel looks like. It's going to be really tight. So I don't think that's going to work. Okay, it's kind of working. It's a bit messy, so I do need to clean it up a bit, but it is working. One way is more realistic and fits a bit better, to be honest, anyway. But I am worried about the traffic because I do think we're going to get, there's going to be more than one cargo hub down here. So we need to try and figure out how that's going to work within this space because they don't have a huge amount of space. So maybe even making it one way, potentially. I don't know if I really want to do that. So that's all right. We'll clean this up. We'll clean that up shortly. But let's just continue connecting because otherwise we might not even, not even have enough room. This is totally working. Now it's just time to figure out if we do have enough space for this and if we can connect it up to the train line nice and easily. So if we do place it somewhere like that, then we could have some sort of junction like this potentially. Let's just give that a go. I mean, there's no time like the present. Let's just connect this guy. If I place it like that, I'm gonna use move it to move it. And I'm just gonna build this on water, and then we'll raise the land up afterwards, because I think it's gonna be easier to do it like this. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. We can connect like that. Let's find those nodes in the water. And this is where it's going to get complicated. I mean, I feel like whenever I want to create some sort of junction like this, it always meets with another one. I don't want to demolish my roundabout. I kind of like my roundabout. So maybe, I mean, is that the worst thing in the world? I'm going to save it and we'll give that a go. I'm going to demolish this train line because I think it's a little bit too close anyway. So let's just figure out what this one's going to do, and then we can maybe drag out another one a bit further away. So, I mean, oh man, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I also am just gonna commit to it. I am so not opposed to this. I think that this is absolutely going to work, and it is pretty interesting. I kind of like what it's doing. I know that this might cause a bit of a headache when we start seeing a bit more traffic coming through, but realistically, we're probably not going to see a huge amount of train traffic, particularly on this one. I mean, this is only serving any sort of freight coming out that way and trying to get to our hub. I mean, this instead is probably going to be the more busier option, and then it's just a simple intersection. So I think that's going to work kind of nicely. Plus, the main train line is going to be the busiest, and it's going to bypass this whole thing anyway. We can also do this kind of interesting thing here. See how we got these like two lines? We could probably connect them up like, boop. Do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah, and then we could connect them up. So if I just demolish that so we don't get a super tiny network, and then that one like that, and then this one like that, and then just fix up our nodes. And there we go. Oh, we've got a bit of a hold up. So this is working probably too well, maybe. We've got a lot of freight coming in. So what I think we're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is we're gonna have to change a couple of these to two-way train lines, which is not my favorite thing because I don't know. I sort of feel like these should be one way, or maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe if I make these ones two ways, like that. And then I guess when it goes into the tunnel, it can just go one way. I guess that's not the worst thing ever. But I'm not gonna change these ones to two-way. Just because I feel like they should definitely stay one way, but maybe instead of having them going both directions, maybe that's a little bit greedy. Maybe I need to change them so that they are going in, well, maybe just this one. Maybe this can just be a single direction. It can be going outwards. There we go. That's a little bit close, but we can just use move it to get him a bit further away like that. Is that clipping into the road? No, plenty of clearance. Yeah, okay, so that works. So let's connect him up. It is obviously still a little bit close, but we are kind of limited in space around here now, but that's fine. Let's connect this guy. Like that. Ooh, that works pretty well. We will give ourselves a little bit more space. How about we do that? We could probably cut into this area over like that. And hopefully we don't lose a building from flooding. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. I think we're alright. this is becoming a bit of a situation. We have so much traffic coming in here. I mean, duh, of course we're gonna have huge amounts of traffic, but I guess I sort of was hoping that this was gonna hold up, this is gonna hold up, being so close to the interchange, but it looks like we just need direct access from the interchange to our cargo hub, because this is just not going to work. So this is just absolutely bumper to bumper, and they're going to start despawning, which is going to cause problems throughout my city. So what I think we should do, I'm going to put it on pause, and I have saved it, so that's not going to be a problem. What I think we do is maybe we have some sort of direct access here. So rather than having that there, let's just make a couple of bold changes. What about there's some road like that connected to, we'll just go like that for now. And then this could have some sort of thing like that. And then, geez, I mean, do we just demolish that road like that? And then we could have some sort of connection going straight to our roundabout. I'm kind of adamant to keep our roundabout. I think I'm a little bit hung up on it, but I like it too much. I guess we could probably make it just a little wider in some areas. All right. Let's make this make a little bit more sense. I think rather than we have like this crazy, I mean, these are way too close in that intersection, but I think I like what's going on up here. The train line is the same intersection as these three roads, which I do think makes a bit of sense, because I guess the roundabout is just off limits when there is a train coming through, which would make sense because then vehicles will actually stop as soon as that train is going on that intersection. Does that make sense? Probably not, but I'm just going to show you what I mean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make our intersection for this road a little bit further down. This one is probably okay at this stage. I'm going to demolish that, and hopefully that shouldn't be a problem. We'll do a pretty rough one like that. I'm going to fix up that node in just a second. Drag that a little bit further down. And then, okay, maybe not that node. Can I go from here? Okay, let's, oh, that's all right. Okay. And then we connect like that. And then this guy probably needs to come down a bit further. Is that one segment? Great. I really just wanted the one segment. Whew. Okay. It made a bit of sense in my head. I'm not finished yet. I'm still working on it. There's definitely a better way of doing this, but I am not changing it. I also usually ask for comments in my videos. No comments, thanks. No comments on this guy, and no comments on this guy, because they're just, yeah. Look, I mean, it's fine. It's doing all right. A couple of things we can definitely change though is because this is like just one giant intersection. I think that for traffic going down into here, then yeah, they can just use this one. But I reckon we could probably make a little bypass for vehicles that are just going towards the city. So let's try and add something like that. It's definitely going to make it very busy around here, but if there's ever going to be a series where I can get away with doing something like this, it'd be Mile Bay. So let's commit. And we'll just fix up that little node like that. And nah, I hate it. We'll get rid of that. I think what we can do instead, what about if we make this road like quite a large road? We can extend it to something like a 4-lane highway. Oh, please don't wreck everything. We can make this one a 3. Oh, far out. Oh man, I feel like I'm making an absolute mess. Hopefully I can save some of this by dragging that out. Can I shift it so that it looks a little bit... Ooh, is that better? I just want these guys to be lined up much nicer. Oh, that's pretty good. What about the red one? Can I shift that up like that? Oh, far out. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. When this guy turns, he's got the option of going into either one of those lanes. He must continue like that. This lane must go like that. Yep. So we'll just do some connecting. Absolutely beautiful. So that's that, and it's working. But I wanna put it to the real test. Just doing a little reverse in there. Rightio. I'm gonna demolish this. It was a bad idea putting that there in the first place. And I am going to place 2 more, if I can afford it. I'd like them to be side by side. Look like I can only afford 1 for now. I'm gonna use move it just to shuffle him around. Connect up like that for now until we actually have enough money to place another one. But I'm gonna place 2 more. What I want to do in the next episode is place down the storage facilities for the different industries we have around Mile Bay. We have up here our forestry, we've got some forestry down here too, we've got our ore mine as well, we've got tons of oil being produced, which is already being produced and stored right next to the hub as well, so we don't really need to worry about oil. But in terms of ore and in terms of forestry and even some of the farming, actually, yeah, farming as well, because at the moment, all of that's being produced, stored around here, and then transported. It'd be much better if I could store it around in this area. So there's quite a lot of storage we need to start placing down. But I'm not going to do that now because, I mean, we dropped to some very, very negative numbers. And we have a lot of problems up here that are making me a little bit nervous because next episode is the last episode. And I do want to finish on a high note, a positive. I want to see the city and Mile Bay functioning a lot better than it is at the moment, because right now there's a lot of problems and I can't leave the city like that. But before I head off, we were worried about this intersection down here and it's worse. It's so much worse. And it's because of this. This thing is causing so much traffic and there's not really any other option in terms of where we can connect up. I don't really want to connect it up here because I think this needs to be its own separate thing. If this is going to the port, then it's all serving the port. Whereas around here is still more, I guess, independent industry that I do want to sort of zone out and plan where those storage facilities are going to sit. So this is more focusing on that. Plus, most of the stuff coming in is actually going to our oil facility. We will tackle this situation in the next episode, but there's one thing that I think might fix that just ever so slightly. I believe one of the problems is that this intersection is one of the places where vehicles are turning around so that they can go back onto our interchange and go elsewhere. I'm going to place a turning area for vehicles. We'll make it just the one way. I'll drag out that node so it's got plenty of space so they've got plenty of space to turn. I'll upgrade that road so they can merge a little bit better. And then we'll make it that only vehicles in that lane can turn left. And then hopefully that should just take a bit of the pressure off that other road. It looks a little bit funny, but I think it's going to work kind of nicely. Let's get rid of that crossing just there. And that should work pretty well. Yeah, it's definitely a sharp turn, but I think it's going to definitely help out our intersection down here, which we will work on in the next episode because there is a lot of stuff we need to fix up. One episode left of Mile Bay. I am a little bit sad to say goodbye, but we do have one more build episode, and then we will have a little bit of a train ride, little road trip, maybe a couple of extra ones too. I'll record some, potentially. We'll see how we go. But anyway, guys, that is it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed it, leaving a like definitely helps out the channel a lot, and subscribe if you are new around here. And if you want to go the next step further and support the channel on Patreon, you can do so in the description. There's a link down there. Shoutouts to some of the people over on Patreon supporting the channel: CJ Newton, Carlos Rodriguez, Nick Lafond, John, David Bourne, Fluffy the Cat, TJ Reed, Adrian Mayers, Megalodon, Matt Austin, Adam Johnson, Emil, Dominic Martin, Tyler Smith, Lawrence Pitts, and Lila Krieger. Guys, thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!